Hi, Deanna here. Thanks so much for being here. Today's video is a book review, and the book we are reviewing is A Piece of Cake by Cupcake Brown. And yes, Cupcake is her real name. She definitely does talk about that in this book, that that was the name that was put on her birth certificate when she was born. So this is a memoir of the life of Cupcake Brown. The synopsis of this book is that Cupcake is essentially 11 years old when her mother is found dead by Cupcake, and she is then placed in foster care, and it goes through a lot for an 11-year-old child to have to go through, for any person to go through, and she went through it at 11 years old. There's definitely some very sensitive topics that are talked about in this book, about some of the things that she did go through. Just some warning to anyone who may be a sensitive reader that especially if you don't like books with swearing or sometimes graphic depictions of drug use and SA, which would be anything like that, then this might not be the book for you, but this is a great book. I was recommended this book when I was going through counseling a few years ago, and the counselor was talking to me about some of the things I had gone through, and she recommended this book, and I'm really grateful that she did because I absolutely love this book. Cupcake is not your typical author. That is not what her forte really is. She chronicles her whole life, right from when she was 11 and this event happened to her, and it snowballed into all these other horrible things happening to this poor 11-year-old. And then she goes through her teen years until she is a young adult, and really it's just a testament to the person that Cupcake is, that she made through it, through so much of what she went through, and she's come out the other side, and she has used this book and her story as a way to really help others and inspire others to keep going. And I think that is a beautiful thing, when we can take something that is sometimes seen as shameful. I mean, I myself have had issues sometimes dealing with my past, so the fact that Cupcake can own her truth and just be straightforward and honest about everything is incredible, and she uses that so much for good, and it's so evident in this book. Like, she is very to the point, she tells it like it is. There's not going to be a lot of like flowy writing or any type of like, you know, literature magnificence in this book, but what you will get is someone who is going to tell it like it is. It's going to be really impactful in the way that she tells her story, and I think it's wonderful. Her life was definitely not a piece of cake, so it's definitely a lovely little play on words that she makes with her name and the fact that she's giving you a piece of cake, but her life was anything but a piece of cake, and that's just really something that I encourage anyone to read who is maybe struggling, or especially if you have addiction issues, anything like that. I really recommend this book. I would love to see this book made into a movie, because I think Cupcake story should be told, and it's something that should be heard, because she was at her absolute lowest, like bottom, rock bottom that you could be at, and she got through that, and she has made herself a wonderful life now. She sounds like she's doing amazing now, and that's incredible, and I'm so happy for her that she was able to not only come through all of this, but to face it and own it and let her story be told, because that is sometimes something that nobody would really be that comfortable being able to put that all out there. There's not a lot of people that can do that. So the fact that she can, for us to be able to take some lessons from it, that's amazing. I really recommend this book. I would give it about a 9 out of 10. She isn't over explaining in a lot of details to the point that it's like some books that you'll read where they will explain like every single detail. That's not what this happens, but I do feel like sometimes there was things that maybe were a little more explanatory than maybe I needed, but that's just me personally. I am very much one that loves like a lot of dialogue in books, and I love a lot of like action sequences a lot. Like I'm very much love that in books. So when it gets a lot of like just like big heavy paragraphs, I can tend to have trouble sometimes sticking to it. But that's how much like this is such a good book, because she might have a bunch of parts where she's just explaining things, or just like sharing a bunch of paragraphs of like big, like what we would almost call info dumps sometimes of what was happening, but it still was so good to me that I don't fault that at all. I think it's still a really good book. She did really well for explaining her story and like keeping me engaged in what she was talking about and keeping me interested. Like that's why it's a 9 out of 10, because it's a great book, a great story. She really puts it all out there for you. She's brash, she's like unapologetic in just how straightforward she is. And I think that's something that in this context definitely to be celebrated, in just how she's come out and shared her story. So thank you so much, Cupcake Brown. I'm so glad that you did share your story, because I know it's helped so many people. It's helped me, and for that I am so grateful. And I hope wherever you are living your best life, and that all of those who have wronged you are gonna end up with their just desserts. So if you can, go out and grab this book, because it's just a great book, and I recommend it for anyone that maybe wants to read a little bit of piece of cake. I hope you enjoyed this video, getting back into the swing of things, getting some reviews done. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, give me a good old like. Go ahead and let me know if you've read A Piece of Cake. What did you think of it? Is it something that you would recommend to others? Are there any other books that maybe you enjoy or have read that you would recommend that I read? Or are there any reviews maybe on books that you want to know more about, and perhaps I've read them or can read them and give a nice little review? So go ahead and share your comments below. I'd love to hear them. And I hope you all have a wonderful day or night, evening, whatever time it is where you are. I thank you so much for stopping by. Take care of yourselves, and you will see me next time. Bye!